Hi, everybody. Al Bernstein here with another one of our boxing hangouts. And on this one, we get to talk about a very exciting topic for me and an exciting topic for many in the Chicagoland area, which, of course, as many of you know, is my hometown. We're going to be discussing the Gale Sayers Foundation and its annual dinner on October 9th in Chicago. And Dan Parks, this is going to be a very special evening for me as well as for the Gale Sayers Foundation. I'm excited that they have, in a blind moment, decided to to honor me at this event.
This is going to be a fantastic one, Alan, and you are, obviously one of the big sports heroes of Chicago, and I can't think of anyone else that's more deserving than you are, sir.
Well, you're
done.
very kind, and we're going to bring the gentleman in here now who is the executive director of the Gale Sayers Foundation, also happens to be Gale Sayers' son. He is a wonderful, wonderful guy who we got to meet a couple of years ago and have worked with him in the foundation before, and he does a terrific job, and we're going to explain what the Gale Sayers Foundation is here in just a moment or two. Gaylon Bullard is with us. Gaylon, how are you?
I'm doing great, Al. Thank you. I appreciate you and Dan having me on today.
Yeah, this is excellent. Well, we wanted to have you on so we could talk a little bit about the not only the event that's happening on October 9th, but also the Gale Sayers Foundation. I'm going to go back. We're going to go back to the genesis of why your dad is capable of having a foundation and doing so much good. And his life is an extraordinary life. It really, truly is. Starting out as a great football player, one of the most iconic of all time with the Chicago Bears. First with Kansas as the Kansas Comet, and there you see Gale Sayers, of course, a member of the Football Hall of Fame, doing things on the gridiron that were extraordinary and compressing into a very short career. A career that was so amazing, and I always compare him to Sandy Koufax in baseball, that they, within a short window of time, Galen, they did so much that they made a huge mark on the sport.
Yeah, he was one of those transcendent athletes that also managed to get a lot done in a short period of time. He only played 63 games. Which is it's hard to believe.
It's insane.
It is, and it's actually one of the things that I'm proudest of him as far as his athletic accomplishments for what he did in such a short period of time. And he's still the youngest man ever inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Yep. And it's probably going to be a while before that one's broken, because think about it. I mean, there aren't too many players that play 6 years and wind up in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's a good, really interesting point. We may never see that again. That may be we think of records that can or might be broken. That one's going to be very tough.
Yeah.
That is. How old was he when he was inducted? 30.
I believe 32, Al.
Yeah, that's never going to happen again.
That's crazy.
Listen, and during that career, of course, became an iconic player, and one of the stories during his career, and this, in a way, this speaks to, I think, his character, of course, and is in a way foreshadowing of all the good work he's done, both in business and in charitable work, because it shows that he's the kind of person that cares. Needless to say, when Brian Piccolo, his fine teammate, became ill and would pass away. Brian's song, the movie, was written about it, and it let America in on a tragedy that was innately a Chicago tragedy, but the movie made it kind of helped us share the burden with America. And I know that had to be a very difficult, emotional time for your dad. As someone who's so close to him, how was he able to deal with all that? And was it odd for him for that story to be made so public?
That's probably a better question for him, but yeah. I will attempt to answer some of it. As you may or may not know, you know, Gale is a very private man,
Yes.
and he's very much an introvert.
Yeah, it's true.
But he has his moments, you know. He likes going out in public and meeting some of his old fans. Who wouldn't?
Sure.
But for the most part, you know, he's an introvert. But he handled it, from my viewpoint, very well. But who knows? Because he's such an introvert, you know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you're making. That there could be all kinds of things going on the inside.
Yes.
But it is because it was
But
you know, here it became so public that you know it's kind of hard to. But anyway, it demonstrated, and I was privileged to do an essay on it when ESPN had a showing of Brian's song. I think it was the 25th or 30th anniversary of the movie, and they asked me to do an essay on it, and I was very pleased to do so from the standpoint of a Chicagoan. So Gale Sayers, your dad, has this great career, and then goes on to not only work in business. He's a fine businessman, AD at the University of Kansas, but started the Gale Sayers Foundation, and this is where we bring you into the picture and bring things full circle to the present and talk about what's coming up and what is happening right now. Tell us what the Gale Sayers Foundation is. I know you work with underserved Chicago schools and help their students become better potential students for college or even for careers if they move in that direction after high school.
Right. Well, you know, as they say, it's all about the journey, and that is definitely apt and appropriate when describing what we're trying to achieve at the foundation. 7 years ago, someone approached my dad about starting his own foundation and getting tied into helping some of these students in schools in some of the more underserved school districts and schools in Chicago. And he thought it was a great idea, an opportunity for him to kind of leave his own legacy, because prior to that, he had spent over 40 years working on behalf of many other charitable groups in Chicago. One being primarily, most notably, the Better Boys Foundation. Mm-hmm. And he had a great time helping out BBF. But at this point in his life, I think he was looking to do something that was more directly tied to potentially creating his own legacy, and that's where all of this came about. And he's always been a big proponent of public speaking and English language arts, and how students need to really get good at that in order to be successful and communicate effectively with the outside world once they leave high school or college. So somebody approached him about 7 years ago. We set up the foundation, and initially we had set up a couple of after-school programs in a couple of schools on the south side of Chicago. It was all basically in a beta test phase to see how far we could take these after-school programs. We had started with a computer training, mentoring program, and a public speaking program. And of those three, over the last almost 7 years, we've discovered that the public speaking component was the most popular and probably our most effective.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because not everybody was. Well, I'll be honest with you, we were a little bit of a Me Too charity 7 years ago, but all of that has changed dramatically in the last couple of years since I came on board, because what we wanted to do, basically I evaluated what we were doing and what was working, and we all agreed collectively as a group that the public speaking component was really important, because it very noticeably you can see a student or a child's self-confidence rise, and confidence is everything, as you know, Al. Having been a boxing analyst, you've seen some of the most confident fighters in the world, and even when they weren't the best fighter, they won fights on confidence alone.
Sure.
Yeah, and so that translates to students' productivity and their student outcomes. So public speaking, having the ability to speak effectively in public gives them a lot of confidence, and that's one of our most popular programs now. So we actually retained that, but we expanded our mission recently when I came on board to include technology next generation technology in the classroom, because we thought that was a bigger mission, a more worthwhile long-term mission to pursue, because our students, especially in some of the poor schools, they cannot be at a technological disadvantage.
Right.
Not in this global technology environment. Otherwise, they just don't stand a chance. So
that's a very good point, and that's singling out an area where they're more likely to have a disadvantage, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So as we all know, it's a very dependent global technology environment now, and if you don't have the money and the resources to constantly reinvest in classroom technology, next generation classroom technology, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So, and also the important thing to note, and the reason why we decided to expand our mission and to go down this road, is because Gale spent almost 30 years in the computer/technology industry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was an untapped resource as far as I was concerned, being the new executive director 2 years ago. And I said, we really should figure out how we can help these schools out, because it's a natural, it's your background. We need to start approaching vendors that you've had long-term relationships with, and see if we can talk to the Hewlett-Packards of the world, and the Ciscos of the world, and see if we can get them to donate computer hardware and computer software. And so that's the path that we're on now. We're all very excited about it, because this is a much bigger deal than we all ever imagined when we first started. We were just in the beginning, we were just trying to get really good at developing after-school program in a couple schools on the south side. Yeah. Now I'm having conversations with consultants and private ed tech companies, they call them, that develop this computer software that ultimately they'd like to see in the classrooms throughout the CPS system. There's a total of roughly 658 schools. There's 400,000 students, 40,000 employees, and so what we're trying to do is, we're not trying to do everything, but we really believe that we can have an impact on the schools that don't have the ability in their budget to acquire these next generation technology that their students are going to need to stay competitive.
And the Chicago School District is working with you on this?
That's a great question, Al. I don't have the answer to that yet, because listen. We haven't approached them yet.
Yeah, you haven't gotten to them yet. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I'm starting to begin to learn who the players are. But listen, as far as I'm concerned, none of this stuff is going to happen from top down.
No, you're right. And actually, the only reason I asked it is because I would think that now, I just came back from a dinner the other night here in Nevada, where there's an education group that works very closely with the Nevada school district. Right. They donate much. My good friend Clint Holmes, who was honored there, works with kids in music, and they provide a lot of resources. And it made me think of your organization, because I was amazed. I sat at the head table with the woman who's the president of that group, and there was the superintendent of schools in front of me. Over here was another key person from the school district, and they all felt like they were one. And I was actually taken aback by that, because it's so rare that we see that, isn't it? Where they allow private enterprise to truly help, and they can form a bond,
It always helps when you have public-private collaboration.
Yeah, working together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will welcome your help as well. So this is a great mission statement. The organization has done excellent work, and I know you've already helped thousands and thousands and thousands of students. And the engine that drives this, of course, is, among other things, fundraising events like your annual dinner, Evening with the Stars, which will be October 9th at the Park West in Chicago. Star-studded group on hand. Now you see the invitation there, in which it mentions a couple of folks, including Ronnie Bull, former Chicago Bear, and Charles Oakley, great Chicago Bull, and who'll be honored along with me at that event. It's a humbling experience, certainly for me, and to be around all these people. And you have Tom Dreesen, who is a great MC, opens for Frank Sinatra for many years, was a part of a great comedy team. Some people may not remember this. I know Dan Parks does. Tom Dreesen, when he was in a comedy team with Tim Reed.
There you go. One of the best.
Yeah, wasn't that a great guy? And Tom is a great MC, and of course he's going to do a great job. Should be a fantastic evening. And tell us, Galen, some of the other celebs that are coming to that event.
Yeah, sure, Al. We're very excited, obviously, to have you and Tom Dreesen as the MC. We've got some other local athletes, Antoine Walker. Who else do we have? We've got James Big Cat Williams, former Chicago Bear. Richard Dent, Hall of Famer. Recent Hall of Famer, I believe. Yep. I believe he was inducted 3 years ago, so about 2011, I believe.
That's great.
Yeah, and who else?
My sister told me Kenny Williams may come by, the Chicago.
Kenny Williams. He isn't confirmed yet, but he and Jerry Azuma are, especially Jerry, are likely to stop by too. So and who else knows who's going to show up?
Yeah. You never know. We might even get a Coach Ditka sighting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, these things are always last minute because. Yes. As you know, it's impossible to juggle all these schedules and get people to show up. It's usually hit or miss, but we've got enough stars there. And the biggest stars of the night are going to be the students who are going to introduce you and the other honorees from our two participating schools, Intrinsic and Vanderpool.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
And if I might add, Al, there's a young man who's going to be there, who was a part of the Jackie Robinson West Little League team that won the national championship. He might be the biggest star of the night. Sorry, Al.
And even though I live here in I had my loyalties were really torn in that final U.S. championship game.
Oh, right.
I knew people who had friends that were on the Las Vegas team, and of course I'm a Chicagoan. And I admired the story of the kids from Chicago, so I was like sitting here torn. You know, I couldn't even root. I just said, okay, let's everybody have fun and let the best team win. You know, but it was a great story for them, and that'll be a great addition to the evening. And of course, any organization or event that has Gale Sayers' name associated with it is spectacular to begin with. So
thank you very much, Al.
Yeah, I must say that I have to say thank you to you since we have a chance to do this kind of in a public forum. Thank you to you for selecting me to be one of the honorees. It's a great honor. For me, it's a great chance to come back to my home and share with my friends and family and people that know me something very nice.
Well, I appreciate it, and I already know that the Q&A that you're going to do with Tom is not going to be long enough. So we're going to have dinner because our family have been boxing fans since I was a little kid, and that's why I have so much respect and reverence for you and your career. So we're really excited about the event, and we're gonna have to go to dinner to handle all of my questions I have. Because Tom's only gonna have a few. I've got a lot of state of the boxing questions that I've got for you.
All right, it's gonna be like Face the Nation for me, huh?
Yeah. No, friendlier than that, Al. This is gonna be totally non-political.
I'm gonna get stumped. Dan, do you have something you want to toss in here?
Hey, you know what? Nothing more than I think it's a fantastic event, and we also had a contact. I think I told Galen ahead of time. We might even have a sighting of the cowboy, one of the most famous unknown characters in the general world of boxing, who I believe lives in Chicago and is an incredible collector and has one of the largest and best collections of boxing memorabilia. Yeah. And he's a big fan of Al's, and I think he's going to be attending your event. So for those of you who are coming to get any of the great auction items, just if you hear the cowboy.
Yeah, you better. And if you hear the cowboy, you better bring your checkbook, because he's so that's, which is good for your foundation. That's for sure.
That's good, and I hope he collects NFL memorabilia too, because we've got about 10 Hall of Famers who've donated items.
Oh wow!
That's our strength. You know, my parents they go back to the Hall of Fame every first weekend of August for the induction ceremony for that year for the incoming class, and so they get to, touch base with all of these guys on an annual basis, and so we have a pretty good relationship with some of them. So we got the likes of Roger Staubach, Franco Harris, Anthony Munoz.
Wow.
We've got, of course, Gale Sayers, and we've got a couple of hockey Hall of Famers too. Chris Chelios.
Oh, great.
A recent induction into Hockey's Hall of Fame, who's donated a jersey, and Bobby Hull's donated a jersey. And so, it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Now people can find out about this at the website. And Dan, I know we're going to put up the website. It's the Gale Sayers Foundation.com, where you can go to get information. There it is, GaleSayersFoundation.com. Go there, get information on the dinner. Are there still tickets available for the dinner, Gaylon?
Yes, Al, there are still tickets available, and all the information is on our event page.
Perfect.
And my office number is there also, so if anybody has any questions, just give me a call, but it's all pretty straightforward.
Anybody that wants to get involved, go to the website for the Gale Sayers Foundation. It is a wonderful organization. You heard some of the work they're doing, and any organization that's working with children, trying to make them better students and better equipped to move into society and do well, that's ultimately that's the stuff that's going to save our society and make it a better place to live.
That's it.
So October 9th, I am thrilled to be coming back to Chicago to be of some help to the Gale Sayers Foundation. Gaylon, it's been a delight to work with you and your staff, and of course it's a thrill to have met your dad, and I can't wait to participate in the evening. Hopefully I'll make the Q&A interesting with Tom Dreesen. I think the odds of that are really high.
Between you and Tom Dreesen, I'm not worried.
I think we'll muddle our way through it. And Tom's a great guy. I've met him on a couple of different occasions, and he's terrific. And we're looking forward to it. So I hope everybody supports this event. And congratulations to you, Gaylon, for the great work your foundation is doing.
Thank you again, Al, and I look forward to seeing you, and thanks for having me on the show today.
All right, very good. So, Dan, we're urging everyone to participate in this dinner and help out the Gale Sayers Foundation. Dan, thanks to you for, again, setting this up and making this Hangout sing. And we'll have a number of Hangouts coming up. Now, one of the things that we're doing here is we're adding to our arsenal what we're calling quick hits. I'm going to be doing more Hangouts in which I simply comment on affairs of the day in boxing, which some of you have requested and asked for, shorter Hangouts that give you some access to my thoughts. And so, Dan, we're going to be working on those in the near future, too.
Love the idea. It's going to be great. And again, we'll have little condensed ones. They might be 5-10 minutes long, but completely all Al all the time.
And who can want more than that? For God's sake.
That's it.
That's what the world needs, isn't it? He said modestly. Anyway, our thanks to Gaylon. Dan, thanks to you. And we will see you guys next time on our Hangout. Be sure and check out on Gale Sayers Foundation.com all the information for this wonderful dinner on October 9th in Chicago. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.